what's good, y'all? Welcome to my review for Power Rangers Beast Morphers Season 1. Finished up, finally got caught up to the series just recently, actually, right before I recorded this, actually. Watched the last episode. And overall, what did I think about Beast Morphers? Overall, I would definitely say that this season is without a doubt a step in the right direction for Power Rangers. As you guys know, I fucking hated Super Ninja Steel. I hated that season. I tried to get back into Power Rangers that season, and I absolutely goddamn fucking hated it. It insulted your intelligence. The Power Rangers were absolutely garbage. No personality to any of them, and the show was just overall fucking shit. Now, what about Beast Morphers? Was definitely a lot better, and without a step in the right direction. So, also, you guys might be wondering, Glenn, why the hell are you playing Tupac in the background for this video? Well, because Hasbro just bought Death Row Records. I wish I was joking, but I'm not. They legit bought it. Look it up on Twitter. It was all over it a couple days ago. I was like, wait, what? Why? Why would a toy company want Death Row Records? You know, the East Coast West Coast war from the 90s with Biggie and Tupac. Don't know why they want anything related to that. Maybe they fans of Tupac. Maybe they try to solve this murder. I don't know. Anyway, so that's what I thought. Fuck it. Let me put some Tupac music in the background of this video, just full of lulls. So anyway, without further ado, so let's just jump right into the cast. Includes Roy D. Travis, Jazz Bawali, probably butchered that name, Jacqueline Skazalziki, and they got Abraham Rodriguez, finally a normal name, and many more. And so the overall plot of Power Rangers Beast Morphers is we have this organization called Grid Battle Force. They discover a new substance called Morphex, which is derived from the morphing grid they use as an energy source. The president of this place, or the mayor, I forget which one he was, is a big fan of this, and of course you got the main villains of the series, Avox. They want it for all themselves, and of course the Rangers gotta stop it. So, first off, let me talk about the stuff that I thought were great, that was good about the series, my pros. Overall, I gotta give props to the Rangers. Now, these Rangers that we got here are not as good as, say, the guys over in Ninja Storm, Jungle Fury, or some of the other series. But, compared to Ninja Steel, my god, they actually have personality. I can actually tell the difference between them. They're not just, the difference between them is not just a color. They actually have personality to each one, and they're overall great Rangers. My favorites are, without a doubt, Devon and, Lily, I believe, is what the Yellow Ranger is called. I might be wrong on that one, but those two were without a doubt the highlights of the series. They were both great. Their acting was great across the board. Now, you guys know, if you saw my other two videos I've done on Beast Morphers, my first impressions when the first episode dropped back in March, as well as my Japan Loves Power Rangers video I did back in April, which, actually, for an update on that one, that account that I told you about, they made all those little drawings about recapping the episodes for the Japanese audience. For some reason, he stopped doing it after episode. Yeah, I want to say it was the episode when the gold and silver Rangers are brought in, and he also privated his account. Don't know why. So that was weird. But yeah, I'll leave a link to his account if you guys want to try and follow him, because his art is pretty good. Anyway, so that was while the Blue Ranger, I still didn't really like him, especially around the end of the series. His acting never really got much better. There was this one episode which was on Fear, as well as this other one that was on where he helps out this kid, that's playing the trumpet, but he keeps getting picked on because he plays the trombone, I believe the instrument was called. Those were probably some of his best episodes, especially the Fear one. That one was pretty funny. And one of the only times those comic relief characters in the series were actually mildly funny. We'll talk more about them later. Anyway, so some other stuff I gotta love about the series was the Zord battles were overall pretty great. I really dug. One episode that was probably my favorite was this episode with Devon, where his dad actually gives him this job at a car wash, and he's trying to balance that along with his Rangers. He ends up getting fired because he keeps leaving for emergencies, because the Rangers can't tell what their identity was, and he's like, I don't want to disappoint my dad, but I gotta do this stuff with the Rangers and everything. It was a nice little, although after that episode he kind of just vanishes. We don't see him again for the rest of the series, which kind of sucks, because I also really dug him. He was one of the only good side characters we had in the series. Not saying the side characters were overall bad, but none of them were overall great. He was definitely the highlight of the series. He was pretty good. I wish we saw more of him. And that was probably my favorite episode, was when the Devon is trying to struggle, trying to show responsibility along with his Ranger duties. That was a pretty good episode. I already mentioned the episode they did on Fear. The one that they did on the environment was also great. And one thing I loved about this series is that now Power Rangers can, as you know, we know that they often tie lessons into the episodes because this is because we all know Power Rangers is indeed marketed towards kids. So you have episode now. Ninja Steel fucking sucked at that, where they would stop everything they're doing. The music's playing some shit. Dude puts his hand on the guy's shoulder and he says, "Because I went to school." That honestly was my breaking point for Super Ninja Steel. I was like, "Fuck this shit. What am I watching? I'm not listening to this garbage." Now, this show did a lot better job of doing that, which, like I mentioned before, the Fear episode, the one episode that the kid getting picked on, as well as the environment episode. None of them felt forced, ham-fisted. They all felt like a good, like they were woven into the episode. Not just like, okay, let's slap this right in here at the very end just because we have to put a lesson in this. It felt like it was actually part of the story, and it flowed naturally, and they didn't stop everything they were doing just to beat you over the head with a message. Which I definitely appreciate, because I don't like my intelligence being insulted like that. You might say, yeah, but it's Glenn, the show's marketed towards kids. There's a way to do it without insulting people's intelligences. This was an example of it doing right, as well as SPD. And Jungle Fury did a pretty good job of it as well. So, let me see. What else did I really enjoy this series? I mentioned the Zord battles. The Rangers are overall pretty good. Well, the B spots. I really dug the B spots. The ones that we had there. I don't know if they were like animatronics or dudes in suits, but whatever the case may be, they were also very entertaining. I forget their names, but they were nice. They were like one side where they kind of had like some comedy bits here and there, and they were actually funny. I actually really dug that one. One thing I also did love was there was this episode, the stalking episode between the Gold Ranger. I'm sorry, his name is slipping my mind at the current moment, and Lily. They go to this movie, and then there's this and they're trying. The Gold Ranger's trying to find this new assistant for them. This new assistant helps them out with all the other Ranger stuff that they're working on. And so then there's this chick that wants the job, and she goes full stalker mode, like she's stalking them. Well, she didn't really stalk them, but we end up seeing those two attend a movie theater to go see some cheesy sci-fi movie. She takes some video of him putting his jacket over her, and he thinks like, oh, this is a date. I can use this as evidence that they're on a date, even though really this isn't really a date. But and the only reason now I would have shit on this episode if it ended up not really being as good as if the stalker chick wasn't as good as she was, because realistically none of the evidence she has is actually could be used as like, oh, they're on a date, because it's literally just him putting his jacket over her. That's just being a gentleman. But one thing I found hilarious about her was that we find out her name is Megan. Now, for you young whippersnappers out there, that name might not mean anything to you. But for us old guys from that group of 90s to early to mid-2000s Nickelodeon, I'm talking like All That, Keen and Kel, Ned's Declassified School Survival Guide, Zoe 101, Victoria, iCarly, and Drake and Josh. You guys might remember Miranda Cosgrove's character in Drake and Josh was Megan. And we all know the shit she did in the series, so that got a good laugh out of me, because I thought, I was like, that line got a good laugh, and I liked how the commander of Grid Battle Force, when she's actually exposed for lying, and also when the Gold Ranger finds out about that whole section around the end of the episode where they call her out was probably the best part of the episode, as well as with her acting, because she's just like so evil, and I also liked because that was like when she's like, dude, you recorded them? You recorded them secretly? You are fired! Get out! That whole stuff was great. One thing I did love was I liked the Thunder Ranger knockouts. I don't remember their names. I'm sorry. Roxanne, I think one of them was named. They were great. They were great at just being evil. I was actually under the impression that they would have been the Gold and Silver Rangers, because I looked at them, I was like, oh, they're like the Thunder Rangers and Ninja Storm. They're gonna become part of the Ranger team, but they don't. Instead, it's Andrew. It's the Ned. That was his name. Ned, the nerd kid. Which his acting was good across the board. There were a couple times where his delivery was a little, and his facial expressions he kind of hams up with his facial expressions from time to time. Around it just kind of makes me laugh a couple times. It made me laugh a couple times. They were great at just being evil. So hey. Now let's get on to my negatives I had with the series. I only had a few. For one, the comic relief characters are fucking god awful. They're not as bad as the ones in Ninja Steel, But then again, one of them not looking like a rapist is not really much of improvement, if you ask me. They're still god-awful, they're not funny, only toddlers would find their comedy mildly amusing, and every time they're on screen, I want to bang my head against a steel chair. They're not as bad, and I could tolerate them a little bit more, but not by much. And the dude that plays her father, my god, can he not act! His acting was wooden as hell, and the episode when they're trying to get the Silver Ranger, where they're kind of divided between the Silver Ranger and, like, I don't know what it was, Grid Battle Force or some shit, the dude's acting is like, oh, I understand, you and him are actually family. That's his delivery. It's fucking god-awful. I was like, what the fuck is this shit? You know, I thought those two acting were bad, but my god, their father, who's like the head honcho of the Grid Battle Force, the man can't act for shit. Jesus Christ, he was god-awful. He was terrible. The romance between Roxas and the Blue Ranger was cringe. I mentioned this in both my my original first impressions video, as well as my thought, as well as the one I did, as well as the Japanless Power Ranger. Their relationship was god awful. They had no chemistry together. The Blue Ranger is not that good at acting. He's very wooden, and he got a little bit better in a couple episodes later on, but most of the time I did not really like him. I didn't find them that very interesting. Well, I'll talk about that a little bit later, more about the Blue Ranger. But yeah, that romance they tried. Now, thankfully, they didn't do it a lot. They only did it in the first episode. I think the second one after that, the Valentine's Day episode, which I wasn't a fan of because for two reasons. One, you really see how bad their chemistry is between those two and how bad the Blue Ranger is at acting. Two, and it was aired in March. I don't know whose idea was it to put a Valentine's Day episode in fucking March. That's like putting a Christmas episode in July. Don't know what the logic behind that was, but whatever the case may be. So, I didn't really like that episode. Let me talk about the Blue Ranger right quick. So, I mentioned this before, but his acting was not that great. It was honestly pretty wooden. I mean, he wasn't like god-awful, but he was pretty bad. His acting was pretty wooden across the boards. One thing I did not was, one of my biggest problems is because of how episodic this series is, and this happens a lot in Power Ranger series, there are times where characters act hella out of character just for the sake of a lesson or whatever they're trying to tell you in that episode, or they just try to do it just to try to give the character more care. Like, the Blue Ranger suddenly becomes an artist in like the last couple of episodes, and when the B-Spot and the Gorilla B-Spot finds out, the dude acts like he just found his fucking porn stash, which, yeah, he's like, oh, I can't have anyone know I'm an artist because his mom thinks it's a waste of time, you know, typical cliche stuff. I wasn't a big fan of that. But also, there's also this other episode where Devon acts like a complete asshole for no reason. This was before you got the Fury cells. And that episode was just like, bro, did you get the Venom symbiote off screen or something? Like, why are you suddenly an asshole in this episode? So I wasn't a big fan. I didn't like because I know episodic nature is what Power Rangers is, but I feel like they use it because how episodic it is. There's not really much of a branching path or much of a branching story from episode to episode. It makes it feel like where we have stuff like that, and it just doesn't feel natural at all. So yeah. What else was I not a big fan of? The second half, I will also say, wasn't as great as the first half. The first half, you guys know, I was all over. I loved it, and I was like, yes, this is the Power Ranger group. And then the second half happened, and it wasn't as good, but it was still good, but it wasn't as good, which did bring the verdict down a little bit for me. What else? Yeah, that's about it for really that stuff that I didn't really mind. Overall, I will definitely say, while there's still a lot of room to grow for Power Rangers, one, get rid of the comic relief characters. They're fucking god-awful, or at the very least make their comedy actually tolerable. I'm not asking for Fight Club levels of comedy here, but Jesus Christ, at least something that makes me laugh. Oh, one other thing I wasn't a fan. Speaking of those comic relief characters, there's this, in the bullying and the picking on episode, there's this part where the bullies come after the two because the Blue Ranger comes in there and finds the tuba in his like grandfather's attic or something, and he gives it to the kid because he threw away his, and also the kid poured like soda into the horn area of it. So anyway, the dude gives him this new one. The two comic book characters get these other ones, and they have some shenanigans that are not funny at all. But when the kids come in, the bullies, I guess you could say, come after like, hey, nobody want to listen to your garbage music. They both back away, cowering in fear. Keep in mind, I'm pretty sure these characters are older than them, as well as they're both kind of taller too. And I'm like, really? Y'all are backing away to this little shit who's all barking no bite? Oh my god. Funny story, actually. So there was this one time in lunch. This was about my senior year of high school. And I'm not a big fan of lunch because I always got to deal with freshmen and white boys being like, nigga this and nigga that, which drives me up a fucking wall because that shit just aggravates me because just obviously the way I was raised, my dad just views the N-word as a racial slur. No matter what you say, nigger or nigga, he still views it as a racial slur. So do I. And that's why I just don't say it. I mean, I won't lie, I slip out a couple times, but I try to make it I don't make it a habit to say it. So anyway, back to what I was saying. So I was in the lunch line. Some kids, some freshmen were right in front of me, and the line was before, but they were talking amongst themselves. And I got no time for fucking freshmen. I have a very low BS tolerance. So I skipped ahead of them. Then the leader of this kid who came out, by the way guys, I'm about 6'2", and this kid was about to the middle of my chest in terms of height. This kid gets all up in my face, or all up in my chest, I guess. They'd be like, hey, what are you doing, huh? Hey, what are you doing coming after, cutting after me? What's wrong with you? And I'm looking down at this kid being like, boy, shut your mouth. I could literally beat your ass if I wanted to. So I just looked at the kid being like, whatever. And they went off. So, little fun fact about it, a little funny story about that. Yeah, that I wasn't a fan of because I'm just like, Jesus Christ, this is literally why are you cowering away from these kids? Literally, the fat kid could probably suffocate him, and I'm just like, ugh, that I did not like at all. But yeah, overall, Beast Morphers is without a doubt a step in the right direction. If you're someone who hated Super Ninja Steel, or just overall hated the Neo Saban era Power Rangers from Samurai to Super Ninja Steel, or you're someone like me who gave up on Power Rangers who kind of stepped away from Power Rangers after the Jetix era, and you kind of tried to get back into the Neo Saban stuff, and you didn't like it, I would definitely say you could come back to Power Rangers because while I'm not gonna say it's as good as the Jetix stuff like Jungle Fury, SPD, Dino Thunder, Ninja Storm, as well as Mystic Force, it's a step in the right direction, and I feel like after a couple more seasons, some more fine-tuning, getting rid of comic relief characters among a couple extra things, as well as getting some better actors, this Power Rangers could get back to those glory days, in my personal opinion. So overall, I would give Power Rangers Beast Morphers an 8.5 out of 10, guys. So tell me down below, guys, what you guys thought Power Rangers Beast Morphers. Did you love it? Did you hate it? Tell me that down below. So I hope y'all enjoyed the video. Leave a like if you did, subscribe if you're new. Follow me on Instagram, Twitter, links down in the description box below. And as always, come back for more. See you guys next time.